What's up YouTube? This is John Helm with Helm Woodshop and Smithy, back with another knife making video. On the last episode you watched me get this knife almost completely done. However, it is not completely finished because when I etched it, these scales started popping off. So I need to get rid of these, clean everything up, and then hopefully I'll be able to put them back on here. So I went ahead and put it through several cycles in the oven at 200 degrees and then allowed it to sit on the counter and cool to room temperature in between cycles. The expansion and contraction of the glue and the scales I was hoping would loosen them up and make them easier to remove. So now I'm going to take it over to the vise and very, very carefully attempt to get a razor blade in between the tang and the scale right here. If all goes well, it'll pop right off. I doubt all's going to go well though. Beautiful. This is just not my project, man. I swear, there is a curse on me. Man, when I punched the first pin out, it came out so easily. It came out so smooth. I actually said out loud, beautiful. It wasn't beautiful. It broke the scale. I just didn't think it was gonna happen so early in the process, but I'm actually glad that it did. Glad that it did because if it happened later in the process, I would have just been fiddling with these longer before I figured out that I had to move on to something else and I couldn't use them. And that would have been really, really irritating. But at least now I know it's over with. You don't have to be super careful removing these. You can just get them off, get it clean. So I don't have to waste time doing that. I do have some really nice pieces of stabilized mahogany, which are the scales that I was originally planning on using on this knife back when I was gonna put a copper bolster on it. I think it'll still look really nice with etched Damascus. So I'm gonna go ahead and move forward with that. Got one chunk off. This doesn't look like it's gonna be easy. Of course not. Why would it be easy? Oh, maybe it is, I don't know. Yeah, it's really easy. Sweet. There we go. I took a little time inspecting this and also the inside of the scales that have popped off, and I think I figured out what happened. Some of the areas didn't have any epoxy in there at all, and so I think that I clamped it too tightly and I squeezed all the glue out because the vinegar was able to seep in those areas where there was no glue and actually etch a lot of the tang. So in an effort to combat that, I'm gonna have to take some different measures. First of all, I need to use less clamping pressure. And the other thing that I'm going to do is dig out some grooves here in the tang just so that I know that there's going to be more epoxy in there and so that it has something to hold on to. Wow, this is a carbide burr. I've never used one before. It's pretty badass. I got all the parts of the scale that are adjacent to metal sanded up to an 800 grit finish. I didn't finish shaping it, and I didn't sand this part because I am going to have to take down the pins after I glue it up again, and I'll have to sand and shape all that again anyway, so I want to make sure I have as much meat as possible to work with. So now I'm going to go ahead and pop these off, and I'm going to do the final sanding while they are separated. This will make an heirloom fit where the edges of two adjacent pieces will have a slight rollover, and it will hide the fact that this isn't going to sit back on there exactly the same. I'm worried that once I pop it off and then put it back on, you'll be able to feel a lip. And so this will make sure that that isn't an issue. Beautiful. That's what I wanted. All right. And need to go fiddle with this one in the vise, pop it off. Blade has been degreased. Everything's been sanded up to 800 grit finish. So into the etch it goes. Keep my fingers crossed the etch goes well. All right, let it sit for a few minutes, come back and check on it. Let it etch at room temperature overnight. Came out gorgeous. So we're ready to clean up these surfaces for gluing and get our scales on there. That was a pretty tough glue up. It was really difficult to get all the epoxy cleaned up along the edges because usually I just let it run out everywhere and then I grind it off, but this time I can't do that. I know I could grind these down on the belt grinder really fast, but I'm worried about getting it hot and the epoxy letting go, and I'm also worried about, the tiniest little slip and this scale is ruined and I'm back to square one. So I'm gonna take these down with the file. This one's sticking out far enough, I'm gonna cut it off with a hacksaw. Bloop. Let that chill for a few minutes in some linseed oil. This is what we call the knife maker's stanky thumb. Every knife maker I know has the same stanky looking thumb. Well, at least the ones who hand sand do anyway. Wow. That is crazily sharp. Awesome. I can barely talk right now. I breathed in so much pollen when I was mowing the lawn earlier, and my throat's just like, I got the coronavirus. And this build was such a pain in the ass, but it really, really shows. All the hard work that I put into it is evident in this blade, and that's all that I can really ask for. I nailed the edge geometry on it. It is razor sharp. It has a gorgeous distal taper to it. The end of the blade is nice and flexy. The lines between the bolster and the handle scales are nice and tight. Everything went together very well. I'm confident that the customer is going to be super happy with this piece. Man, they better be. It was so much work getting it to this point. But I honestly don't think that there is anything to complain about with this blade. There's not much else to say. I mean, it's badass. I did it. I nailed it. My long-term goal, make a really nice high-end chef's knife. I did it, and it fought me every step of the process, but I beat this son of a bitch into submission, and I am really psyched about it. So now I'm going to put a little bit of wax on the handle, rub it down, get it nice and shiny, and it'll be ready to ship off. But before I can do that, I'm gonna let a little bit more linseed oil get down in those cracks and cure. This is a big milestone that I've been aiming for a long time, and I finally got it. I don't know what the deal is with chef knives and myself. They just don't agree with me. I don't know why. I love them so much. They should love me back. Anyway, thank y'all for joining me. Don't forget to comment, like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell so you can see when I come out with new videos. Y'all have a good one.